right now with COVID-19 and all the unknown about what's going on at work, we know that there's a lot of ambiguity, there's a lot of unknown, and there may be some celebration that you get to be at home, and there might be some stresses that you get to be at home, and everything else that's going on. So we thought we were going to teach you 3 techniques today, or 3 different kind of approaches to help you with just getting through every day on a positive note, reframing things positively. And there's some very specific and easy things that you can do. And Jennifer and I are going to take you through these today. There's 3 things we're going to teach you today. 1, how to start a morning rhythm and positive mindset with that. 2, cultivating coherence and peace of mind. And 3, just really connecting with yourself for strength and resiliency. And the 3 methods that we're going to teach you today, they can either be done separately or they can be layered on top of one another during different parts of your day to help us stay, I think, anchored, feeling positive, and creating flow at a time that flow feels different. Yes? Okay. So Jennifer, is there anything you want to add to that before we kind of jump in?
No, I would say it's just that this is a sort of unique time for many of us. It's very hard. And as you said, being at home, sometimes that means there's a lot of us, a lot of time being alone, perhaps spending a little more time with ourselves, seeing ourselves on video, being more self-critical. It's also a time where we're challenged by being around our family and our pets and everything else 24/7. So I think these techniques that we're going to show you today are really designed to be able to, be used anytime you need them. And that's the best part of it. I find myself using them multiple times a day just to stay sane during this really crazy time.
Yeah. And something that you just talked about that I really liked, which is humor.
Yes.
I think one of the first things is just to be able to have humor during this time. There's a ton of memes and things out there that we were just talking about that we really liked. And since you and I aren't comedians, we're going to teach you these other techniques.
Right, exactly. And you can go to Facebook or you can go to, Twitter and look up some of the work from home fails because they're hilarious.
We know all about that. We've been working from home for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing, and I am going to follow some of my notes here because just so you know, you don't have to take notes. We're going to have a free PDF toolkit for you called Self-Approach, basically during a time of stress. But the PDF you can download for free, and it's going to have all of these things in detail. So you don't have to take any notes. You can just follow along and discover and enjoy, but I am going to look at my notes so that I'm really following it. So when you're putting together your PDF toolkit and with the video, then it'll be easier to follow along. So number 1, really cultivating and creating that morning rhythm and mindset. We're used to doing that when we're going out at work and in our regular day, but here's something you can do for a few minutes, even before you get out of bed, that can help you right away start the day in the frame of mind that you choose. So 1 is to delay stress. And what that means is a lot of times in the morning, the first thing we do is grab our phone to see what time it is. Then we see all of our texts, we see all of our alerts from our social media, and we may see our news feeds. And what I'm asking you to consider trying is delaying stress by not looking at all of those right away. Because what that does is it kicks up, and you're probably pretty familiar with this, but it triggers our cortisol right away. Even if we're used to it and we don't feel the stress, that stress can be in the background, and that triggers our stress right away. By the way, the PDF toolkit has some nice science bits along with each one of these steps, so you'll be able to read more about that when you download that. So delaying stress. Number 2 is simply waking with breath. And what that means is, when we always have a few moments when we wake up with our alarm, and or we wake up by ourselves and we just have those few moments of noticing that we're waking up. And in those moments, your brain is particularly susceptible to and open to your direction. And so when you direct it to look at texts and things, then you're directing it into that stress response. But right now, you can choose to create another response for your body and your brain. And so, waking with the breath is simply a very simple, easy technique. And I'll ask you to try it by putting one hand over your heart center, and then your other hand down just somewhere on your belly. And you can close your eyes if you'd like, or leave your eyes open in case you're afraid that you would fall back to sleep. But just find a place on your belly if you're trying it right now where it might feel a little tighter, or you just feel some sort of maybe a lack of energy, even, or there's some place in your upper stomach or your lower abdomen that might need a little comforting, a little warmth. And all we do is breathe in through our nose slowly and fully, and exhale through our nose even slower. And if your nose is a little stuffy, as it can be in the morning, at least mine, then you can exhale through your mouth. But try and inhale through and exhale through your nose first. So let's do that one more time, breathing in slowly and exhaling even slower. And as Jennifer continues to demonstrate that for us, I'll just highlight that as we continue to breathe, we're literally warming our lungs up, stretching our lungs to get ready to be able to breathe better and breathe deeper in the day. And as you're breathing, it will begin to expand more. So you may notice that your breaths get deeper and deeper. And as they get deeper, try and slow them down even more, and then exhale even slower. Okay, and we do that a few times. We can do it for what I would suggest minimally is a few minutes, like 3 minutes. And for people who are used to and really enjoy the breathing, go for 5 minutes. And if you're a breathing nerd like I am, you can go 10 to 20 minutes. But most of us don't have 20 minutes to lay around and breathe in bed in the morning, but do at least do it a few minutes. And then as we're doing that, now you want to begin to anchor in or cultivate and anchor in positive feeling and a positive emotion. So that's really recalling something that you feel grateful for. So it can be recalling something in your memory, or just simply checking in with yourself right now in the moment, in the morning, and asking yourself, what am I grateful for? And if that comes with a happy memory or happy feelings right now, that's even better. Because what we're doing, sometimes we can look for what we feel grateful for, and it's about kind of reframing something that's challenging. But in the morning, what we want to do is really find that thing that we're grateful for that can make us feel happy. And then the anchoring part is to get really specific about it. So instead of just saying, oh, I'm happy that I'm healthy, it can be, I'm happy and grateful that I can really breathe deeply, that my body feels strong and ready for the day, that I have no aches and pains right now. So that's the difference between being general and being specific. And the more positive we can keep it, the actually more it will anchor in that positive feeling. So saying all the positive things, and then I left off with saying, I'm not feeling any aches and pains, I would even take that one step further and say, wow, what I'm really feeling right now is freedom in my body. I feel like moving. So that would be more positive. So you're preparing to move. So those are really the 4 steps: delaying stress, wake with the breath, anchor a positive feeling, and then prepare yourself to move, which is right after you've anchored that positive feeling, just do a few mild, gentle stretches. We're not working out, we're just preparing to move into the day, which will actually help flood your body with positive reactive hormones. And then this isn't a step, but if you can, try and just consider, or actually try not looking at your texts and news and social media until after you have a really nutritious breakfast, because that will help your digestion, it will help you gain nutrients, it'll help your resiliency. Okay, so
That's
that's step
great.
one.
I love that. I love that whole process. I'm one of those people who has a hard time doing it in bed because I will fall back asleep. So I usually have to, turn on the light and sit up in bed. But I always do my little stretch, and I always do at least one moment of gratefulness for something. So that gratitude moment really gets my day going. And then if I have to sit up to carry it on for a little bit longer, I'll do that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my hack on that one. But I think it's such a great way to start the day. And the nice thing about these techniques is that you can use them throughout the day. So what I'm going to talk about is another technique. It's called the quick coherence technique. It comes from practices from an organization called HeartMath. And it's a technique that you can use anytime you feel your shoulders creeping up towards your ears, which, stressful moments throughout the day kind of catch up with us after a while. And we find out we're breathing really shallowly off the top couple inches of our lungs. And, our shoulders get really tense and tight. And you can use this one to kind of, I would say kind of break that cycle of nervous, anxious, stressful energy when it happens. The first step is to kind of identify, oh gosh, look at me. My shoulders are up here. I'm barely breathing, and just take a moment and bring your shoulders down. Acknowledge, okay, I'm feeling stress, or I'm feeling a little bit depressed, or I'm feeling a little bit anxious. These are all normal feelings right now for just about everybody. Then take a deep breath. Breathe in. If you can breathe in a count of 5 and breathe out a count of 5, that's a great way to start. Through your nose or your mouth, but I prefer to breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the nose as well. Now do this a couple of times. And then here's the ticket to really changing that stress response when it happens. As you're breathing, imagine that the breath is coming in and out through your heart. And as you breathe in and out through your heart, cultivate within yourself a positive feeling. That could just be the feeling of love for someone, or a person in your life, a pet, a place you love to go where you felt truly happy. Breathe in and out through your heart and feel that feeling. Just actively feel it. You can do this for as little as 30 seconds, and it will start to shift your nervous system from the fight or flight response, which is where we're in when our shoulders are up at our ears, to a more relaxed parasympathetic state. And the nice thing about HeartMath is that what it's actually cultivating is coherence. So you don't have to be completely relaxed for it to work. Coherence is a state where your brain is in a more relaxed state so that you can think better, make clearer decisions, but your body doesn't have to be in a total relaxation state. You don't have to be lying down. You don't have to be in a deep meditation. Just 30 seconds of this quick coherence technique will help you immediately start to take the sting out of that stress. It'll help you build more resilience as you go through the day. If you can do it for a minute, if you can do it for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, it will just continue to benefit you. And if you are able to do it for 5 minutes at a time, and you really can feel yourself relaxing into that breath and feeling that breath, it will become energizing for you. So it's something that you can do throughout the day to stay energized. And there's a calm energy about it, because being relaxed isn't necessarily being asleep. And we often, when we're trying to work during the day or we're doing conference calls, we don't have that option to just kind of snooze off. I suppose you could put it on pause. I saw a meme this morning where somebody had taped their mouse to a fan so that it looked like their status was active all day. I thought that was hilarious. Anyway, I'm not suggesting that you do that, but again, humor is another way. So, cultivating those things that make you feel happy while you're breathing through your heart space will really make a difference throughout your day.
Yeah. Well, and talking about working from home, if we're not used to working from home, again, it's at first it might feel really good, but then we do need to learn how to actually stimulate ourselves to get us going. Because when we're in an office, I know when I've been in an office, somebody's always coming into my office, and I'm rarely alone for that long unless I put kind of close my door and do not disturb kind of thing. I'm working on something that I can't be disturbed, but we're used to having you know our coworkers and kind of this outer stimulus come to us. And
Mhm.
now when we're at home, yeah, we might have our kids around and so forth, but when we're trying to do our work and we're at our computer and we're feeling this, we don't get that mental break of some of other people, catching our attention and discussing other work projects and stuff. So we have to do it ourselves. I know when I'm working at the computer, I often do feel, eventually I'm like, oh, and I don't even feel stressed. It's just all the things that I have so much energy going on up here. And then I realize, wow, my shoulders was like a foot up to here. And then another time that I use it, not necessarily for, because I'm feeling stressed out, is when I'm at home, I notice that I have to create transitions for myself. So a transition between working and lunch, a transition between working and talking to my husband in a non-corporate way, in a way that feels like I'm his wife and not, his business partner. And in those transitions, I'll do this type of coherent breathing that Jennifer is just showing us, even just to make a pleasant transition so I can be available and not in my business brain,
Mm.
for other people in the household, for my family.
And I'd like to add also that this is really good if you're experiencing fear. I think during this time of social distancing, we're trying to find joy, we're trying to find ways to connect with each other, but it's also really hard not to be a little bit afraid. There's a virus going around, and who has it and who doesn't, and it's really hard to know. And I had one of those moments last night where I was just perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden I was just overcome with this sense of worry and fear about not myself, but about my loved ones. And are they going to, how am I going to protect them? And I realized that that was a moment where I needed to really cultivate the fact that I love these people. And by doing my heart breathing and by remembering that these are people that I love deeply, the reason I'm worried about them is because I love them so much. And that itself is a gift. It really is a gift. And if you can breathe that energy, it doesn't stop you from being concerned, but it helps to take you out of that place of anxious worry and bring you to a place where you can be more calm and coherent and continue on with your day.
Yeah. And I love that because I have family in high risk areas, and I'm not concerned about myself at all, but I do find myself beginning to be much more concerned than I was last week, you know,
Mhm.
for them. So going on to our third and last one for today, connect with you, really connecting with you for strength and resilience. And I suggest this as something you can do at the end of your day, to kind of pull yourself back in. We're out here during the day, even though we're at home, we're doing our work and we're with our families and we're watching the news and whatnot, but reconnecting with yourself. So this is pretty easy. Again, you can spend as a little bit of time, or you can spend a lot of time doing this if it feels beneficial. So ask yourself a couple of questions. One, who do I love? And so that can be all the usual people, or our furry family as well. It can be, who do I love? And it can also be, sometimes what comes to my mind are people or somebody that I may have had a conflict with or a misunderstanding with, but that after that was resolved, that I learned something about myself, or that I learned whom I wanted to be or how I wanted to show up better in those kinds of circumstances. So just bringing that up, so you know, it can be the usual people, our friends and family and furry friends, but can also be somebody who's really taught you something about yourself through a circumstance. And I really like that one because it stretches us a little bit and we can find special gratitude just in that. The second one is ask yourself, what did I find the most satisfying or meaningful today? And sometimes those are the big goals and the big objectives. And sometimes it's, you know, I showed up like this in a certain situation. And it can be, I got through all of my checkoff list. Whatever makes you feel really satisfied that day. A lot of times it is the smaller things rather than the bigger things, but really look for that piece and not necessarily just go to your default. You know, really look for that piece. What made me feel satisfied? And then again, relaxing with the breath. That you can use the breath that we did for the morning or the one that Jennifer, and they're both a little bit similar, but just slightly different techniques. And what we're trying to do is bring you a few different ways to do this, and you can choose the ones that feel most comfortable for you or that you like the best. So the point is in the evening is to make sure that when you're relaxing with your breath, to breathe in even slower, like really begin to breathe slowly and exhale even slower. So it's the pace and it's the getting deeply oxygenated. Um, and so it's very simple in the evening. There's one other thing that I'd like to share with you. We have at Imagine Your Health a set of what we call soul seconds, and those are free 2 to 4 minute visualization meditations that are on YouTube. All you have to do, and we'll have a link to them down below, but all you have to do is, if you want to search it on YouTube, put in Imagine Your Health Soul Seconds. And there's about 12 of them there. And really, they're short enough that you can use them during your day. You can wake up with them, but you can use them for just brief moments, a couple of minutes to connect with yourself for strength and resiliency throughout your day. So those are the three. Jennifer, can you kind of recap how people can choose to use these techniques we've been talking about today?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think what's important is getting your day off to a good start. And you'll find that by doing those exercises in the morning, at least this is what I've experienced doing that, is that it really sets my day off on a different tone than if I were to be looking at my phone right away. That's always been true, but it's never been more true than it is right now with everything going on. With every morning, it's, you know, the damage report, you know, where are we today? How many people are sick? I mean, it's really kind of horrifying in a way. And if you start your day in fear, that tends to create that pattern throughout your day. This is a way to really stop that from happening early on, to build your resilience, because your resilience, your mood, your emotional ability to cope with things is really set by the tone that you set in the morning. And the nice thing is, if you can use a little bit of heart focused breathing throughout your day for just a few seconds at a time, it can help you get back to that place. And it's kind of like a bank account. You have a certain amount of energy, and when you read the bad news, it's making withdrawals from your energy. And when you breathe, when you connect with yourself, when you do these little exercises, it's like making deposits in that energy account. And that helps us all cope throughout the day. And relaxing at the end of the day is also really important. All of those things that have worried you throughout the day may or may not be there tomorrow. All that matters is that we're relaxing so that we can get a good, restful night's sleep. These are things that are challenging, but these little techniques, they sound so simple. It's just about breathing and it's just about thinking and feeling, but they make a huge difference.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so again, we have the PDF toolkit that you'll be able to download. We'll give you the link down there, just below the video. We also have the Soul Seconds link. And again, in the PDF, if you want to read a little bit more about the science behind it, there's that. If you just want to have more resources, you can email us at support@imagineyourhealth.org, O-R-G, support@imagineyourhealth.org. And, look for future videos. We'll have more of these videos coming. And also, we're going to be starting very quickly here a group that will be getting on together once or twice a week at your choice. And Jennifer and I will lead the discussion, the discussion. So it'll be coach led, but it's not necessarily a coaching group. It's for us to get on, be together, talk about our challenges, also talk about our wins, get to share our wins together and have ideas together, as well as Jennifer and I can keep on teaching you um, quick techniques that can help your resiliency through this time. And just keep in mind that no matter what's going on, peace of mind is something we cultivate. It's not something that's given to us, no matter what's going on in the world. So we hope that you have a great day, and we will see you very soon.
Right.
Bye.